Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, where you will find interesting guests and discussions about cutting-edge topics to assist you on your journey. The Quantum Guide Show is ideally suited to the newly awakened and for those who feel isolated by their newfound beliefs. The mind, body, and spirit thrive when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change that we wish to see in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels, and share this show with your friends. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. In episode 102, my special guest is Kosta Makreas, who is the founder of ETLetsTalk.com, the ET Let's Talk community, the People's Disclosure Movement, the People's Love Alliance, and the Global CE5 Initiative. Kosta is an international networker and creative artist working on behalf of harmonious relations between all life forms. Kosta has been a dedicated spiritual activist since his teenage years. As a young man, he became fascinated with the mysteries of the universe, teaching himself astrology, meditation, astronomy, and read widely about UFOs, comparative religion, science fiction, spirituality, Atlantis, and many other metaphysical topics. His current passion and mission is his website, ETLetsTalk.com, and the ET Let's Talk community. Community members learn how to make human-initiated interactive contact with star people. Kosta also founded and facilitates the People's Disclosure Movement, which boasts 650,000 plus members in over 100 countries. It is the largest, most widespread movement of its kind, and it bypasses governments and authoritative power structures by empowering everyday people to interact directly with ET star beings in order to co-create with them a positive future for Earth. Kosta believes that we are living in a unique, challenging, and wonderful point in history as we transition to a new mode of enlightened and spiritual living where peace reigns between humans and between humanity and all life forms on and off Earth. Kosta, welcome to the Quantum Guide Show. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you for that introduction, and I'm doing just fine. And welcome to your audience. I look forward to speaking.
Oh yeah, everybody's probably really excited to hear what you have to say.
I hope so.
So can you tell us how this all got started for you, Kosta? What led up to you creating the People's Disclosure Movement?
I'll tell you what, everybody that comes to the ET Let's Talk community and to the People's Disclosure Movement has a story. And I'm about to tell you mine, but I want to preface it by saying I believe I'm not unique in any way in the contact that I have had throughout my life. But all these different steps did lead me to being here, and I honor everyone's story who comes to the community because there's just a million ways that they wind up, being there. And even to this day, after 16 years of being in this mission, I enjoy hearing about people's what I call their origin stories. Mm-hmm. So my origin story, I'll give a little bit of background. And the thing that is that I consider myself a pretty normal, average person. And you'll see from my background that I sure didn't expect to be where I am today, doing what I'm doing, but I'm sure glad that it turned out this way. It's been wonderful. Anyway, I grew up in the American Midwest in the 60s and the 70s is when my teenagehood and young adulthood occurred. And even as a child, I had an interest in looking up at the sky. It was science fiction. I had a telescope. My eyes were always on the stars. I followed for that day what were the moonshots, the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs, which captivated the imagination of the entire world at the time. So I was no different than a lot of people from that era. Plus, my eyes were always on the stars in one way or another, and I felt a tug when I looked up there, as if they were home or I belonged there. That there was a great mystery, and I just wanted to go out and explore. And again, I know that I'm not alone in that. I hear that from a lot of people who have had the same experience of feeling a real connection, and that's very human and very powerful. So I believe around the age of 10, I picked up my first book on UFOs, and it had a lot of beautiful pictures. And this was in the early 60s. So this was before photoshopping and the great ability to really manipulate images. So what I saw were what I believe a lot of genuine photographs and stories of people making contact. In those days, there was a contact movement that had started in the late 40s and the 50s, 60s, and into the 70s, which was the first wave of contact people. And they were writing their books as they had experiences. Now, granted, there were some people who were phonies in that area, but there were a lot of people who were quite genuine, I believe. And I picked up one of those books. I saw the pictures of the dome-shaped saucer object and many more, and I was just smitten. I knew for a fact and felt actually that they were here, and I wanted to know more. But the truth is that I set aside my interest in UFOs at that time, and I pursued pretty much a normal kind of life where I went to university. I got a degree in computer science with a minor in math, and pursued a career like most people do. That brought me out to the San Francisco Bay Area here on the left coast of the U.S. and into the Silicon Valley, where I started working as a software engineer in the Silicon Valley, and I had a career that was about almost 40 years in duration as an independent software engineer. So that was really wonderful because it was the left-sided brain analytic part of me that went out into the world and did the usual career types of things that everybody does. Along the way, I also got married, had children, got divorced, got remarried. And all of this was, like I said, pretty normal until 2006, when I discovered that there's a group in Northern California, about 4 hours from my house, that was making human-initiated contact with star beings. Now, all during my life, I had known people that I trusted, like family members and close friends who had UFO experiences. So I believed them when they told me that, a craft had flown over their car, the engine stopped, a light shined down, they saw the rotating lights underneath. It was soundless, no vibration, it was whipping around the sky. Things like that were told to me as stories by people. And again, I believed it, but the ability to go out with CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, where you do your own human-initiated contact, was something new, and I wanted that experience. So I went to Mount Shasta in Northern California, and I spent a week with people learning how to make contact using consciousness, meditation, visualization in a group format. Made some new friends during that week. But the bottom line is, during that week, I had 3 experiences that really sealed the deal for me and changed the course of my life so that I'm doing what I'm doing now. I have some visual aids here. Am I able to do a share screen here?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's good. Because sometimes it's better to show than, in addition to telling a story. So those 3 experiences really did change my life, and I'll try to be brief and recount them here. First of all, during that week, I was meeting a lot of people who were doing this contact, and we were seeing things in the sky we'd never seen before, what we call flash bulbs, flashes of light that we believe were craft because they were zigzagging around. They would go stationary, they would flash. We would flash our lights 3 times at them, they would flash back. And this went on and on for the whole week, all kinds of contact that we were making, and learning how to recognize what those are versus normal phenomenon like, airplanes, stars, planets, satellites, and to differentiate and split them apart. Because after all, we were, and I still am, after truth. Got to be discerning about what's real and what's different up there. So during that week, we were seeing a lot of different things that was real exciting for us. One day, someone showed me a photograph of some orbs that started appearing along with people, because we were taking pictures of each other. And I looked at that picture and I go, I want one like that. And there's a couple of orbs in it. So I set up with my friend to have a picture taken of me in a secluded area. We were in a clearing at the foot of the mountain, surrounded by forest. So I had my friend take a picture, hoping that I would get one of these cool orb things in there. And just before the first picture that my friend took, there was nothing. It's just me standing there grinning, with the background of the trees. And I'm disappointed, right? But I thought, let me try it again. So I had my friend point the camera at me. I posed. And just before my friend clicked the shutter, I had this spontaneous thought in my mind where I said, and I actually put my hand over my heart, and I just said, in my mind again, I invite any beings of light on planet or off planet to join me in this picture. I didn't know what to expect, but I just said that. And I thought, I love you, please join me. And then my friend clicked the shutter. And as that happened, I thrust out my hand, if you can see it here, kind of like in a ta-da gesture. I was being playful, figuring, what have I got to lose? Ta-da, click, right? And so the picture was taken, and I'm going to see if I can show you the results of that picture. There's that. And do you see that?
Yes. Yeah, you sent me that. I was actually going to embed it if you didn't share it. So it's a fabulous, fabulous image.
It it blew my mind. And several of us who were playing with this were very scientifically oriented, so we tried to debunk our own pictures. We used different cameras, different backgrounds. There's volcanic dust there at the floor. We would throw that dust up and see if that's what all these were. There was no humidity in the air. This was dry weather, and on and on. We were not able to debunk it, so we were left with, okay, we really think there were some orbs here on planet, off planet that showed up. I had wanted one or two, but I guess I got 1 or 2,000 instead. And later on, when I asked my spiritual guides, because we talk, like many of us do, to our guides, I asked them about this picture, and they said, yeah, that was us. We're on planet and off planet. And we would like you to keep a copy of this picture in your pocket, a hard copy. And whenever you feel down, lonely, depressed, pull it out and look at it, and remember, you're not alone. And so in that same spirit, whenever someone joins the ET Let's Talk community, I send them this picture with a reminder that none of us really is ever alone. And this is my evidence of it. But again, I'm not special. We all have, our helpers and our guides on the other side. And I was just lucky enough to get some physical evidence in this case of them. So that's that story there. I'll stop the share.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I don't know if you know, I'm just going to tell you and remind the viewers that I also am a big fan of the CE5 movement. I've been doing human initiated contact for many years. I've had some amazing experiences. And so I'm totally relating to everything you're saying, Kosta. It's an amazing, magical world we live in, if we just remember that. And I'm so glad you sent that picture out, because that is, that picture just blew my mind when I first saw it. I thought, boy, and I also find that often when I reach out to my guides, and I ask for either support or evidence. It took me a long time before I stopped asking for proof. And wow, it doesn't just happen. It happens in some amazing ways, ways that we could never even have thought of. And so I'm so excited about the work that you're doing. And when you're ready, I don't want to interrupt you,
That's okay.
but when you're ready, tell us about the mechanics of the People's Disclosure Movement, who can join, what they will get out of the experience, just anything you want to tell us about the movement, I think is really, really important.
And thank you for the opportunity to do that. I think the movement is very important. It was founded in 2010, and I'll tell you the beginning story of that too. After my experiences at Mount Shasta, one of which I just finished describing, plus a couple more, I knew that I wanted to be organizing more people to do what had been able to do, because I was not the only one making contact. I knew there were people around the world as well as people there in the group. And being kind of a natural organizer and wanting to be a cheerleader for this, because nothing succeeds like success. We had had such a great week. I started organizing people around the world with the internet to join and share our experiences. Well, in 2010, when I was talking with my spirit guides, for the first time, my star friends came through, and I do this through the abilities of my wife, who's a really good telepathic channel. I'm also a good telepathic channel, but not nearly as well developed as she is. So even though I do get messages from my star friends myself, when I really want to have conversations and ask questions and get feedback and mentoring, my wife Hollis, shout out to Hollis, is right there, and my star friends are able to quite easily speak through her. So we talk. In 2010, after a few years of doing some organizing, I asked the star people who came through in this one session, hey, I've got a day job, but I'd like to do more with this organizing, but I don't know if it's of any use to your larger plans, because I do believe that many civilizations are here, and they do have plans in detail for how they're going to approach humanity. I wanted to be of use. I wanted to serve in some way the bigger picture. So I asked them, is there anything I can do that fits in with your larger plans? Because you need boots on the ground, after all. This is a cooperative thing where we humans have to do our part. It's not going to get done for us because we don't grow otherwise, right? So I asked that question. And they said, yes, you can do this. Create as many ET contact teams as possible in as many places as possible, as quickly as possible. And I went, okay, I can try that. That sounds great. That's simple. I asked them, well, why do this? And they said, well, they are honoring human free will. And when more people ask them through these CE5 interactive protocols, for example, when more humans ask them, they will have permission to show up physically in more cities. And that's what they said. They will show up in many different ways. As you were talking about, Karen, they have creative ways. And as they show up in more cities, more humans will see them and call forth and give forth more permission to show up in even more cities where even more humans will see them. They call this an organic growth of a movement, a virtuous circle. And that was the beginning of the People's Disclosure Movement. I asked them, well, what's the end game for all that? And they said, someday, so many people will have seen them around the world and want more contact with them that a tipping point will be reached, after which it will be impossible for any institution of authority, a government, a church, or whatever, to cover up their presence and say, nothing to see here. That tipping point, they've told me recently, was actually reached in 2019, about 3.5-3-ish years ago. On the other side of that tipping point, they're very, very happy now, because they say that our movement has grown so fast, so large. We're now 1 million people in the People's Disclosure Movement. I had not given some of the updated statistics, and that's probably an undercount because a lot of people are interested in this. But there's so many of us now who believe, making contact, that we own the future because we're making the contact, we're doing the disclosure that people in the UFO UAP community have been asking and actually are still waiting for governments to do. Please disclose to us, please, please. When you're on your
Yeah,
bended knee like that, you give
yeah.
them all the power. So the
Can I?
People's Disclosure Movement is about taking our power back.
Wonderful. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Um, I just sometimes get chomping at the bit with my question, don't want to forget it. I wanted to ask you two things, which are both out of my realm of experience, and I just want your thoughts on it. The first thing is just the way because I also am nobody special. I'm not a spokesperson for ET. I'm not a leader. I'm not a cult leader, nothing. I'm just ordinary person. And I get the impression that it's almost like the information is being rained down on all of us. And when we're ready, we tune in, or we naturally have a way of being where we just kind of tune in. And the reason I'm saying that is so that the viewers and other people out there aren't thinking, oh, you have to be somebody special in order to do
Uh,
this. And I'm wondering if you want to speak to that before I ask you my next question.
I totally agree with what you've said and want to underline that to everyone out there who's listening or watching, that anybody can do the CE5. If you join at etletstalk.com, my little commercial now, the membership is free, and I have 7 steps for making contact. Some people will customize some of those steps, but as long as the core of what you're doing in your contact is a pure heart, an open heart, an open mind that's free of criticism, fear, and all that negative stuff, you will be an open receiver because they use telepathy. And that's what I want to say to people, is that every one of us is important. Every one of us has a role, and you can make your own contact and contribute to this larger movement. This is a cool movement. Nothing like this on this scale has ever been done in human history. We are literally changing the history of the planet because we, everyday human beings, by making our own contact and bypassing governments and waiting for them to disclose, we're doing the disclosure. We've done the disclosure, and we have exceeded every expectation that our star friends had of this movement when we started in 2010. Those are literally the words they said. They've said that it's a snowball rolling downhill that cannot be stopped. So my invitation to everyone out there is just know, no matter where you are in life or where you're located, you can make this contact in your living room, in your backyard, by the sea, in the forest, wherever it's safe and comfortable for you. And therefore, you're contributing to this large movement that's growing all the time. And what will happen is that we will form relationships with the star people because that's what they want. They literally said to me in 2010, when we had our first conversation, to not look upon them as gods. They instead said they are elder brothers, sisters, and cousins. We are family, they said. And I'll give you a quick anecdote
Sure.
about that. Shortly after that conversation, I was driving locally here to the city of Sacramento, which is north of where I live, on the freeway by myself. I was going to go visit my wife up there, who had some business to do there. So I was just in a zone in the fast lane, doing 80. I shouldn't have been doing 80, but I was in a hurry. Anyway, there wasn't much traffic, so I was very zoned out. You know how you get when you're driving and you almost get hypnotic, and then you kind of come to and you go, my God, it's been 20 minutes. Who's been driving this car? I've been on automatic. I was in that kind of a zone until on my right in the lane, a semi-trailer truck came speeding by me. And that just jolted me like, oh my God, that guy's really going fast. And in that lane, I thought I was in the fast lane. It went by me. Suddenly, I'm really alert, followed by a second semi-trailer truck in that same lane, which was going slower enough that as it passed me and I looked out the window at the back of the trailer, the box there, were big block letters, almost if someone had written there the way that you do on a dirty windshield of a car if you want to be, pulling a prank or something and you go, wash me, you write it and you think it's funny and you run away. Well, this was kind of like that, because in big block letters on the back of this trailer truck that I could easily read as it's going by, it said, ETs are family, the letters, and then it was gone. What do you do with that? But it's like they had really found a way to bring home that point to me that they had just said in the few days before, the week before, when we had this conversation. So am I to believe that the driver of that trailer truck had stopped at a rest stop and carved that out just to mess with me, to go down the road and say, I'm really going to mess with this guy? No. I think the odds of that are far, far greater against that happening than the real thing, which was they found a way to communicate. So
absolutely. And I will confirm that I've had similar experiences. I wanted to get your thoughts about free will, because it's my understanding that the CE5 is so important because we have free will. Nobody's going to come in, and this is just my opinion and based on my experience, so I'm not saying it's truth with a capital T, but in my experience, I had to ask and call in and allow myself to get to that state, usually through deep meditation, where I was at one with everything, and then invite in. And the same thing for angels and interdimensionals. And in fact, I don't think they're too far removed from each other, really, if we saw the big picture, right? So I think free will is the intel I've gotten, but also there's a certain amount of personal responsibility where, and this is just my belief and based on my experience, is that the human body is a technology. The human body needs to be able to hold the frequency. And if we're strung out on politics or all the distractions of the world, if we're not treating our body with a bit of respect, it's more difficult to make that connection. So finding personal sovereignty seems to be a part of it. So anyway, I don't know if I put too much in this question. Again, getting back to free will, I just think that this is how we bring change, permanent positive change to the planet, is by opening ourselves up, caring for ourselves properly, learning how to do that. And with our free will, when we contact star beings, they're helping, then they help us to form the new positive timeline. Anyway, I know I've thrown a lot at you, Kosta. Just take it wherever you want. I wondered what your feeling is about that.
You put better words out there coming out of my mouth than I could have. You basically said what I believe too. We do have that free will, and again, that's my belief. So it won't be really violated in any large way because humanity has to have its own growth, and I believe the star beings realize that. They're elder family. When you're an elder cousin or an older brother or sister, whatever, you don't you need the younger ones, the younger siblings, to have their own growth. You can't do everything for them. You can teach, you can give guidance, you can answer questions, you can point the way, but they've got to do the work. And I believe humanity is in its growth stage spiritually right now at this point in time, where we're called upon as a matter of survival to, for the planet, because of the state that we're in and all the crises that confront us. We're called to grow up spiritually and to start treating each other better with, with goodwill, with love, with compassion, in opposition to what much of our history has shown. So this is come to Jesus, come to Moses, come to Muhammad, come to Zoroaster kind of moment where, and you don't even have to be, believe in any of those people, but it's just a moment where we need to come together and let love be what guides us. That we have power over. And you're right. We have the technology. What the most basic technology is right here, the heart. is at the center of the whole universe. There is one mind and one heart. And as we make ourselves available to be used to create positive change, believe me, we will be shown in one way or another how we can make a difference, what path to take. So, yeah, I echo what you're saying. And I urge people to find a role. It may not be what you're doing or I'm doing, Karen, but someone else out there may start a group, may relate an experience to someone that they think is ready to hear about this, and suddenly their mind opens up. Even the smallest acts like that about this topic and about how love really needs to change the world are powerful. And we're called upon to do that now even more than before and in larger numbers than before. My star friends have also said that in the People's Love Alliance, that 1 billion human hearts have opened enough that they are ready and are wanting a better world. Now, there's about 8 billion people on the planet, but 1 billion human hearts that are able to and ready to envision a better world in so many different ways where it needs improving, that's a powerful force. And I know my star friends are happy to see our hearts opening. Now, if you watch much of mainstream media, you'll only see many times just doom and gloom, because it's easy to pick out the places where humans are having conflict, where there are disasters. Where's the good news, people ask, if there's 1 billion human hearts. And what I say is it's there on the internet. If you know where to find it, there are websites that feature amazing good news of people from the grassroots level doing acts of kindness and compassion that you will never see on the evening or the morning or the noon news. But the truth is they're doing it by the millions. And if you just realize that we're not alone, it's not just us and 10 of our friends who want to be do-gooders and improve things. It's really hundreds of millions of us. So you have to pull back and realize there's a movement afoot called the People's Love Alliance, which is all about humanity getting its act together, about us learning how to love and to build transformational, life-affirming technologies and activities in order to approach the golden age. And guess what? Our star friends are there waiting for us to succeed with that. And that's why they talk about being elder brothers, sisters, and cousins. If we form a relationship through our CE5 contact, and this is circling back to what you were asking before, what can people expect if they do this? I mean, it's nice to see the lights in the sky and to have voices come through your audio and all kinds of experiences. That's great. But the real thing is to have to build a telepathic contact, to build a relationship the way that you would with any other mentor who's a human. And we build that relationship because they want to help us. Again, they don't want to do it for us, but if we ask the questions and work with them, we understand that this is a partnership where we and they are co-creating the golden age on Earth, which is totally possible. It's there already in the other dimensions. It's waiting to filter down into the physical realm, but we have to ignite it and do the work here. And we have all the cosmic help from all these other civilizations as we're doing that. One day we will have full open contact. I don't even ask about when that will be, because they may have plans, our cosmic friends, but again, human free will may alter timing on these timelines so that likely they can't even predict what day or hour that might happen. But will it happen? You bet. This is the largest movement, the People's Disclosure Movement, in history. It's that snowball rolling downhill that can't be stopped. And it's a great thing to be a part of, because we are history and we're changing history at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's never been a better time to be alive, really, at least from my perspective. But I wanted to also ask you about, let me see if it didn't slip my mind already. My intel that I get from my guides, and I loosely call them my guides because they're beings I can't see and I don't hear, and we communicate through telepathy, and often body sensations and emotions and abstract thoughts and ways of just spontaneously knowing. It's pretty cool, really. But the intel that I get is that nobody's going to come and save us. And I noticed that a lot of the different ET groups, I'm not saying they're wrong, I don't know, but I do know that my intel is a little different, and it's more closer to what you were saying about how we have to have personal responsibility, and they have great faith that we can do this. And then when we reach out, it's not like we get everything done for us, but we get insights on how we can be more effective and help all of this. And it's funny too, you're talking about the Love Alliance. I've been writing since 2013 about what I call, it sounds very similar, what I call the global platonic love affair, because it's so exciting. Once we connect with each other in love, there's very little conflict. There's the odd misunderstanding. There's very little conflict. We don't want anything from each other. We just want to love and be connected in love. And it's the most heady experience of my life. And I just love it so much. I actually did a mini convention with a few guests, I don't know, probably a year, 2 years ago, called the Global Platonic Love Affair. But basically, this is the thing, is people, I feel, don't have to be afraid, because it's all based in love. And it's not a romantic thing. It means being patient with ourselves and each other. Self-love is really important. It means being mild in response to conflict. It means so many things, but it is changing reality one person at a time. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I'll be quiet now, but I just wanted to throw that out there too, because it is so cool when I find other people who've had similar concepts, similar ideas, similar intel. It just gets me all excited. So
yeah, I'm the same way. I do a lot of networking all the time, and it's a special thrill to meet someone who gets it, what you're doing, and that you get what they're doing too, and you join forces. And I've had 16 years that I've been in this mission and have discovered a lot of amazing people. We may be working in different areas. For example, my focus is on connecting us to our cosmic families, but I meet other amazing people who are working on free energy technologies, who are working in the medical field with sound and light to heal, and on and on and on. All of these are life-affirming things, and we, in our aggregate, are the shoots of grass that are coming up from the bottom, to create a wonderful field, a new golden age of Earth. Any one shoot is not going to do it, but together, with love as our goal, with goodwill in our hearts, we're building those right human relations and creating the technologies that are going to, I think, remake the whole world. They're going to save the world and remake it so that we thrive, not just survive as a species. I as you were talking, I thought of an analogy as you talked about other ET groups, and again, I'm not disparaging anyone, because there's a range of opinion on things all the time, a continuum. But to the point of us taking responsibility to do something, here's an analogy. If you as a person are wanting to build a house, let's say, and you don't have all the knowledge, you might go to the internet, right? And to a do-it-yourself website, right? Build your own home, where people will show you videos, books, maybe offer personal instruction. You go to someone who's more of a mentor, who's more experienced. You don't turn your life over to them. You don't tell them, hey, drop what you're doing and come over here and build this house for me right now, stat. You don't do that, because if you have that do-it-yourself, a self-responsible attitude, you're going to them for information, for learning, for guidance. You pull it down and you start doing the work yourself. I like that analogy, because that's the way I look upon our relationship with our star brothers and sisters. Is they've gone down the road ahead of us, maybe thousands, maybe millions of years. They have conquered maybe some of their lower instincts, and they have thrived and gone out into the universe, and they're willing to share their technologies and give advice, but they're not willing to build that house. you know. They will step in and offer the advice. And again, that's a beautiful relationship. It's the way it should be. It'll be humanity finally honoring each other and building a golden age on Earth, and also building that golden age in the cosmic with the civilizations that are here to meet us. So they're real excited, and you're right. They do believe in our potential. They do know that we can be difficult, change our minds, not keep our appointments, but I am so happy that they have their patience has held out, and they have shown us in many different ways, the messages we've gotten, that we're loved. I mean, literally unconditional love. Who doesn't want that? You know, we're all after that, I think, or most of us, I guess.
And I also feel that it's very rewarding to put in the time and effort to do the meditating and to be able to basically learn to alter our receiver wavelength so we can pick up on these wonderful contact experiences. I just think it's just so amazing. And the other thing too, Kosta, is nobody can take that away from us. Once we've achieved that point where we're making contact and we're bringing good things into the world, like my thing is lifestyle, awakening to the fact that most of what we're told is good for us is absolutely not good for us, and opening people's minds to nutraceuticals and to different aspects of what I call the construct, so that, you know, we can wake up. And then I offer a free program to help basically incubate people while they're expanding their consciousness, looking at food differently, detoxification. And then I even have a little bit on making contact. And so that's sort of my little job that I'm doing as a result of the contact I've had. You've got the People's Disclosure Movement, other people have other things, but we're all bringing this with the spirit of love to the global, well, unless you're flat earther, in which case it would be your pond. But and I think contact actually absolutely applies whether you're a flat earther or a globe earther or a holographic or morphogenic universe. The more I discover reality, the more I realize things are really quite flexible and fluid here. We have a lot more power than we thought we had. And it's just ever so exciting. So we all have our little jobs, we all do what we do, and we all maintain contact, and nobody can take that away from us. Even if they put us in jail, we still have that. And I think it corresponds a bit to the teachings of Jesus Christ, who basically says that that anything that you want, in sincerity, you can have. It's all there. It's all there for us. So I'm just really excited about the work that you're doing and the ways that you're helping people to make contact, because I don't do as much of that. I do more supporting, awakening individuals. I basically created my podcast and everything to be what I really needed 20 years ago when I was going through the waking up process, right? So I'm sort of trying to make that available. The sort of message I get is build it and they will come. There's a huge momentum, like what you were saying about the snowball rolling down the hill. So there's like more and more and more people waking up, discovering what's possible. And so, we're all getting our support services all in line so that people can take advantage of that. So anyway, sorry. I know I always kind of start talking. It's hard to shut it off.
I'm not guilty of that at all. I can't stop talking sometimes, but in your case and mine, I'm clear that it comes out of enthusiasm. When we talk a lot, it's not just, I think, to hear ourselves talk and put out syllables and stuff. It's bringing something from the heart, something authentic that you really want to share, that's meant something to you, and hopefully will help somebody out there in some way. I was struck by you saying they can't take that away from us, because that's a key point of something that I believe and that I pass along to other people. Once you've had your first and second contact experience, nobody can take that away from you. You're right. They can lock you up. They can tell you move along. They can try to gaslight you, whatever. But you know what you know. And that's what I affirm to people is know what you know. When you have some of those experiences, I showed you earlier one of my, they can't take that away from me experience with all the orbs. I'd like to share one other experience like that where we
Sure.
actually captured some starships on video. I'm not sure if I had sent this to you beforehand or not. It's only about a minute long, but
Fine.
yeah, this is one of those experiences where obviously because I still show it to people, it still profoundly affects me. It was short and brief, but the what was rolled up into it is very cosmic because we actually caught on camera starcraft piloted by some intelligence that acknowledged us, and let us shoot video, which doesn't always happen for whatever reason. Sometimes cameras fail, batteries just go blah and discharge that were new when people try to take pictures of something happening. And other times things work. Well, I don't pretend to know all the reasons why some people can capture photos and videos and some can't. All I can do is present like what I'm going to show you now as one instance that worked for us where we captured something on video. And the backstory to this is we were at the ET Let's Talk retreat. We do 6-day retreats, 3 a year here at ET Let's Talk, where we teach people how to make contact. And my wife Hollis also teaches psychic development so that people can discover which psychic modalities they have, and then practice and make them better so that their contact can be expanded. Because obviously the more sensors you have, whether it's telepathy or clairaudience or whatever, the more ways that you can be contacted by star beings. So during these retreats, she teaches that, and and we do sky watches at night and share experiences and grow as a group. That's my commercial for that. But we were in Joshua Tree, which is Southern California, in 2017 in October. And one particular night, there were about 14 or 15 of us out in the field, and we were having a good night, making contact in the sky. But and we're out in the desert, right? And in the lower western desert sky, we watched 2 lights that were not airplanes. We kind of determined that they weren't because we knew where the flight paths were and we know how to recognize them. 2 lights that were approaching each other from different directions, almost as they were going to collide. You're just watching that, and then before they collided, they circled each other like this, like what? And then they pulled apart and they hovered there for a few minutes, and we filmed them doing that as they were hovering. And so what I'm about to show you will be a result of that.
It's fantastic.
Okay, this is a very short video. It's about a minute long, and this is our group encountering these lights.
It should be a little bit below. Pick it up right now. So to the right. Yeah, it should be right about there. I was watching it with the night vision. I'm trying to bubble out my dots now. Is there anyone who cannot see that?
Oh, okay. Sorry about the commercial again.
Oh, it's all good. People,
I'm
I'm gonna
always
be
promoting
asking you anyway where people can find you and everything else anyway. So yeah, please do tell people, because otherwise how are they going to know, right?
And how are you going to make new friends? Yeah, etletstalk.com. It's all free, and I'll stop the share now. So yeah, that was an experience that no one can take away from me.
Mhm.
People could try to debunk that and say, oh, that was stars. No, you weren't there if you're going to say that. Once you sit there and you watch those two move, circle, then pull apart, you're watching something that's not your average bear there. It's
Yep.
not helicopters that are doing that for our amusement, or planes, or some other man-made vehicle. These were cosmic beings that wanted to show us, because there's times out in the field where you'll see something and there's a discussion that happens. Okay, everyone report in. One saw this, the other one saw that, a third one saw something else. We kind of do a group think and try to figure out and suss out, was that a craft, or was that something we can explain? Because after all, we're after truth. I
Mhm.
believe that when things like what I just showed you happen, and you see them do this and circle and pull apart, they're basically saying, hey folks, this is not what you're used to. We're drawing your attention to the fact this is anomalous, and you should not be able to explain this away. We are for real. So we take that to the bank, and I love showing that video, because we've had other experiences. We've even earlier that night, I believe one of those craft actually came to the ground about half a mile away for a half an hour, and was flashing at us. It would not approach the group any closer. Believe me, we were asking.
Yeah.
We were all excited, but for whatever reason, it was out there about half a mile in the distance, and came back with a friend a couple days later, actually, because we had multiple days of sightings like this.
Wow, sounds great. Now, there was one other image that you sent to me, and I'm just going to check my notes. It was Hirate. I don't know if it's Hirate or whatever. It was a very interesting image. Do you
Okay.
know what I'm
Oh
speaking
yeah,
about?
I've got it
Okay, do you
right
have an
here.
image you can share and tell
I
people
do.
about that? Okay.
I can, and I will. I'll tell the backstory first.
Sure,
At
sure.
another retreat in Mount Shasta, um, my wife and I were with a group of maybe 40 people. And actually, prior to that retreat, we had a friend who's no longer in the body, but who very openly was telling us she's Pleiadian, and that uh, her cosmic father had his own ship and his own crew and his own fleet, I guess. And she would ask him, his name Hirate, and I may be mispronouncing it, but would ask him to show up on our behalf and make his presence known in the sky when we were doing our sky watches. And so prior to the retreat that I'm about to describe, he had done that in an unmistakable way, zigzagging through the sky, that got all of us excited, and we had expected that. So at this particular retreat, on this particular night, we were told that he would show up again. So there was much expectation, right? But during the night, nothing occurred, at least in the sky. Other things occurred, but not the signature thing that we expected this Hirate to show up and to show us. So I was a little bit disappointed. And it was near midnight, I think. We were all in a circle, surrounded by forest, and it was just totally dark around us. I mean, pitch black. We just finished a meditation. My wife, Alice, was sitting next to me in this circle of 40, 50 people. And in the middle of the circle, one of our friends had a camera where he was on a tripod that he was using, actually multiple cameras that he was using to capture things happening in the sky. He was the guy that was focused, no pun intended, on getting video and pictures. So he's in the middle of the circle, okay, and here we are coming out of meditation, a little bit groggy, and suddenly he yells out, "Look there!" Between Hollis and Kosta, my wife and I, behind Hollis and Kosta, between them, and I jolted into attentiveness, turned around, and all I saw was pitch black, and so did my wife and everybody else. It's like, what is this guy talking about? Because he was real excited. He goes, "Oh, you got to look at this." So we get up out of our seats. We go up to his camera. It's on a tripod. And the camera's pointing at myself and my wife. And we looked from the middle of the circle back in our direction to where the camera was pointing to, where we had just been sitting. And it was pitch black again. However, when we looked at the viewfinder of the camera, It's kind of the flip kind that comes out. I'm going to show you what we saw through the camera that the naked eye was not showing. Here we go. This is
Wow.
Hirate, the Pleiadian. It was the weirdest thing. You're standing, and all of us stood there at the camera in line. You look down at the viewfinder, you see this before you, your eyes move up a couple inches to look into the distance where it's pointing, where the camera's pointing, and there's nothing there. It's dark. So Hirate was using whatever, the camera's mechanics, the light, to produce this picture that our eyes could not capture. People see different things in this. And I don't want to do a spoiler and tell you what you should see. So I won't trace it, but what I do see is a torso and what looks like a head with some kind of gear at the top. Some people can make out in the upper part of features of a face. I cannot, but I do see clothing of a certain style on the torso.
Yeah, it looks like he got all dressed up for you guys.
Okay, you saw what I saw. I was just gonna say, I had just said no spoiler alert, but I'll go ahead and spoil it. Yeah, I'm looking at some wide white lapels here and a button down, a vest or something over a shirt, different colors. I see part of an arm. It's like you're looking through a keyhole, so you don't see the whole figure. You just see the shape of the keyhole.
Yeah.
But there's enough there that it's coherently an object, right? It looks like a torso with a head. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's what we got in that moment was Hirate's picture. So he showed up. We had been expecting the ship in the sky to be zigzagging around and delighting us that way, when in fact, right there between Hollis and Kosta, I mean, very deliberately, not behind anybody else, behind us, between us, was this. Now, is this just a holographic image? Was he really on the ground in a high energy body? I can't tell you, but I can certainly say that this was anomalous. It was produced by some other intelligence, by some means that is significant, that nobody there can explain or was producing. So these wonderful things are, again, the type of thing that you can say, no one can take that away from me. I was there. I know what I saw. 30 other people saw it too, and you can open your mind and accept that there's more to reality than what we're told, or you can just shut it up and try to explain it away in some other way. And therein lies the big story. There's thousands, if not millions of us that have had experiences like this, not necessarily a being, but with craft and other things happening that are anomalous, that in their aggregate, you can't explain away. And that's what the People's Disclosure Movement is, where we're coming together now and sharing our stories and saying, oh, you saw that too. What information did you get? Each of us has a little bit of a jigsaw piece. And by being in this community and sharing our stories, maybe we can get a little bit bigger story about what's going on than any of us could individually. In the same way that you were just telling me, Karen, that you had your the platonic love thing. I learned about that. I didn't know, but you shared that story, and we found out there's some congruence there, between what we're doing. And that's what the community is about. And that's why I invite people to come to step out of the ET closet and put on some cool duds, just like these, I guess, and be your truth, share your truth, and know that you're not alone. There are literally millions of people who are now speaking up in this disclosure movement, and we're not going to shut up. We're loud and we're proud about this.
I got to tell you a funny anecdote that goes along with the picture you just showed. So I have experiences with beings. To be honest with you, I don't know where they are. They don't have a name. They don't use English. It's a completely different system. And but I've had no contact whatsoever with Greys and Arcturians and all the different, groups that other people are having experiences with. I sense that I go to a different dimensional reality. But anyway, so there's all these things, and I know nothing about it. So people go, well, what do you mean you've had ET contact? You don't know anything about the Lyrians or this or that. I don't. But one day I was meditating and I went into astral projection, and I go to I know it's going to sound crazy, but I go to these meetings that are exopolitical meetings where there's an exchange of information between the other beings and myself. But I know I'm not there physically. Anyway, long story short, is one of the last times that I made contact. We were sitting in a fairly large room, and it was kind of like a round table with no center. And in the center, there was like holographic capabilities. Anyway, so they knew that I was curious about some of these beings that I had not had any contact with, and neither do I even now, but that I was curious about them. And they showed me sort of the leaders of some of these different groups. And what shocked me was the way they were dressed. They were dressed kind of similar to your guy in that picture. They were dressed the way we would imagine a king or someone of very high position, maybe in the 1500s or in the 1300s, with a lot of this folded material, very regal. They were very regal, and I had never seen them in that way before. So anyway, that was it. That's the end of the experience. But it's just that it was interesting then to look at the picture of the guy that manifested through the camera to you guys, and he's got all this beautiful, what looks to me like rich regal clothing. So I just thought I'd tell you that, because it's another, there are so many similarities between our experiences, not just you and I, but the whole community. It's really exciting and very affirming. So what I was thinking is we're getting closer to the end of the show. Kosta, could you outline for the viewers the steps that they can take if they've had no ET contact but want ET contact, or if they've had some ET contact but they're not feeling well supported? What's the first thing they should do? And I'm guessing it's to go to ET Talk. Well, anyway, I'll let you tell everybody, what are the steps that people should take to get involved with your organization and to get the support they need to continue?
You answered the question quite well. Whether you're a newbie or a veteran, etletstalk.com. The membership's free. When you register there, I will send materials, one of which is the video of the two starships here, for example. But it's kind of like a getting started guide. There will be links on the website that will take you to places where you can, for example, download a CE5 manual that my friend Celia Hatch and her team created, that is all about CE5, how-to, groups, and etc. And then that's free too. So there you will be given, like I said, links, places to go, instructions on making your contact, and on linking up with the community, especially also on finding other groups. My friend Hunter Bobeck has a ce5groupfinder.com, where you can go on a map and see if there's anybody near you. So we're all about simply learning the contact, finding others in community, and sharing our stories. So it's simple, just etletstalk.com, and we'll take it from there. And you can always contact me. I try to keep up with my email and answer questions for people as best as I can. And let me say, I appreciate everybody that comes, because every one of you matters in the movement.
Certainly. And also you have a newsletter. I get your newsletter. It's very interesting. So that's excellent too. I recommend people sign up for your newsletter. And so now I guess I want to ask you, Kosta, what are your next steps? Where are you going from here? What you got planned? Anything for this upcoming year, 2023?
Well, yeah, I have, I'm doing the usual connecting people, which I love to do, meeting people online, welcoming new people into the community. But also we have 3 retreats coming up. They're physical retreats, 6 days In June, it's in Mount Shasta, Northern California. Let's see, this year it's in July, we'll be in Bloomington, Indiana, the heart of the Midwest there, where Indiana University, the main campus is. We have a place outside of town there, and we do our contact. And also later on in October, we go to Joshua Tree in Southern California, and we do a retreat there too. So those retreats finally have resumed. The problem with COVID slowed things down and eliminated them, but we're back and looking forward to meeting people. So if people are interested, again, just join at the website, and I'll be sending announcements about how to get more information about the retreats, how to register, etc. And by the way, they're very affordable. They're only a fraction of the cost of what other similar retreats that are out there are charging, because I want this to be affordable for everyday people, not just for people who can shell out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's how it is. I look forward to meeting some of your viewers.
Oh, yes, that would be so great. That would be just absolutely wonderful. So I'm just wondering, before we close out, do you have a message? What do you, in your experience, what does ET want us to know? What just any kind of message that, and I know you don't represent all the beings or anything, like me, neither do I, but if you have any impression that you want to pass on to the viewers, I think that would also be really lovely.
Yeah.
We're looking for direction for sure.
Well, number one, we are loved. We matter to cosmic civilizations. They wouldn't be here otherwise, beaming all kinds of light in extra dimensional ways as well as in physical ways to us. They believe that our species can thrive, not just survive. So that's the basic message, and they're here to help. So form that relationship is what I say. Make your contact, form that telepathic relationship, or if you're lucky enough to be meeting in physical, then that's even better. But for most people, there's these other ways. They want us to know that some of them have come from the future, and they are the star teachers as one group. They are our descendants who state that the reason, or the fact that they're able to be talking to us today is because we succeeded in going on a timeline that allowed them to exist. In other words, we didn't destroy ourselves on this world, and they exist now because we as humans overcame our problems and evolved in the future to become them and to go into the stars. That's why they're the star teachers. So they've come back with messages that basically say, believe it, you made it. Just create your reality. Don't look back on the victimhood of the last 70 years of cover-up, of abuse that we've taken, emotional and otherwise, for insisting that cosmic civilizations exist. Look instead to the future, and they say, create the future that you want in the quantum field. And if that future includes having them, come and join us in full open contact and to create a golden age on Earth, then do that, visualize it, feel it, put your emotion into it, and ask for their help at the same time. And therefore, we're all about creating together. And that, again, is part of their message. Love is creating the future, and we are doing it. This movement is not my movement. It's not that other person's movement. It's the people's disclosure movement. We all have the responsibility and the joy of bringing about the golden age that we want, and the full open contact that we want. That's part of that.
Based on my own experiences, I agree 100%. That is definitely in line with everything that I've been getting to. And I want to remind the viewers that the links will be in the description below. And for those that are watching the audio visual, the link will also be right below Kosta and I on the screen. And for those of you who are listening on an audio platform, do check out the description to get the links there. And I'm very, very happy to have had you on the Quantum Guide Show, Kosta. I absolutely wish you the best of success with everything you're doing. I have a feeling we'll be meeting again, but also I'm wondering if you might like to come back, because we've barely, scratched the surface. Maybe in a little while you'd like to come back and give us an update, let us know how things are going. And that would be really wonderful too. So I just encourage everyone to please do check out the offerings from Kosta Makreas. I'm just very, very thrilled to have met you and to have you on the show. And we'll see everybody next week on the Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Right now is the perfect time to heal your mind, body, and spirit. But for some, it may be more difficult, as there are those that have experienced unexplained phenomena such as alien abduction and implantation. Many that have experienced this don't have anyone or anything they can turn to for help. Mainstream medical practices will not acknowledge the presence or treatment of these implants. They can be synthetic, holographic, energetic, or etheric. They can block your energy pathways in order to alter your feelings, behaviors, preferences, and limit your potential. Karen Holton has created the Quantum Health Transformation Program and the Alien Implant Remedy. The Alien Implant Remedy is a proprietary blend of essential oils, crystal frequencies, orgone energy, and guided meditation designed to work together to move energy and dissolve the implants. Due to current conditions, supply is limited, so check them out today. These kits provide the right combination of energetic frequencies specifically designed to disable and dissolve energetic implants that may be holding you back. Karen Holton also offers energy and wellness coaching, ascension workshops, Zendome's orgone generators, and spiritual support. Visit KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com or click the link in the description to find out more and get your alien implant remedy today.
Thank you for joining us on the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels. Like this video and share it with your friends. You can also find the Quantum Guide Show and my other podcast called Aliens and Astrology on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network. That's www.forbiddenknowledge.news. And while you're at it, check out my website, www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, where you will find some amazing products and services and an abundance of free resources to help you with your journey. All of the links are in the description below. And in the meantime, until we see you next week, keep up the good work.
Puts all my inner strife to rest, for time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less, and the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play. It's okay. It's okay.